Good morning, everybody. So, in my quest to be a better DD player, today I bring you a DD game. I'm in the Tier 6 Vasteras, the Pan-European destroyer. I'm in a division with my good friend Louise and Dementia. Louise brought his Dunkirk, or as Dementia calls it, Dunkirk. Dunkirk. Dementia's in his Navy. I ground the Navy line for a bit, but unfortunately the Khabarovsk has been nerfed into the ground. I think the Khabar now has a slower rudder shift than the Conqueror, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm trying to grind a few of the lines of destroyers and see if I can get slightly better at it. As you can see, I'm sporting the 200 doubloons, 200 XP camo here. Taking a bit of a chance because when you use one of those and you lose a match, it sucks. Now in chat we see Charizard fan 32 from Fleet Force 1, and the significant of that is before I joined the clan Assault, I used to be part of Fleet Force 2. Fleet Force 1, Fleet Force 2, pretty much all the same thing. And as per usual, we're heading down the left side here. We spawned on in this area, so we're going down the 1-2 line. And just beyond this island is where I would expect the enemy DD to pop up. Previously had some good games in the 9 line with Louise, especially in the Mayoko, Ioba, etc. when I was grinding those. So it's not my favorite map, but also not a map that I absolutely despise. And we are not seeing anything. The other thing that makes this super interesting, and why I thought I'd share this replay, is it's a dual CV game at Tier 6. Now, CVs versus destroyers, you know the love that goes around there. That's a lot of love. Plus, the Vasteras is in the fantastic position that it has smoke. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have smoke. It has a heal. So, double CV game in a destroyer, and I don't have smoke. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to last very long. But as we're pushing this side, we see a Legionnaire push hard with us. Le Legionnaire, being the Tier 6 French cruiser. It's a fun boat to play. The Tier 7 was so hard to get through. I really disliked the Tier 7. And Louise in his Dunkirk, he is also pushing hard. I mean, if they're not going to bring anything this side. We spot a Bayern off in the distance, and I think the Bayern decided to come down this side and then realized that his team aren't coming this side at all. So turned around and decided he's not going to do a one-man stand. Now, as the CVs are spotting the enemy, we notice they're all clustered towards the southern side of their cap, which makes very little sense. But okay. We might have to tell somebody else how to play the game, unless they're an idiot. Yes, I do. I'm sorry, I do. Now, the Vasteras isn't the prettiest of the ships. It's only a Tier 6. The shape and the hull gets very pleasing to the eye. A little bit later on in the line, I know the Friesland is a good-looking boat. And let's launch some torpedoes at Bayern here. I think my detection on this ship is 6.2, so it doesn't have great concealment, but my torpedoes are 10. Unlike my friend here in the Navy, who has basically suicide torpedoes. Oof. And if Fusa kills our Arizona, we're already starting on a good front here. Quick sip of coffee while my torpedoes run. Now the Pan-European torpedoes, they basically hit like mosquito bites, but they reload fairly fast, and at least they go fast. So, got a little bit going for them. And I get my first hit, knock out his steering gears. Second one, flood, and then incapacitation. Now he's obviously going to repair that because he needs to be able to steer. So I think, I just thought I'm within 5.6, 5.5 Ks of him. He's just burnt his damage control. See if I can get a fire, which I just did. Well, and I was expecting him actually to push forward straight towards that New Mexico, but he turns. Oh, I was a little concerned about the New Mex, but not too much. And there, Vasteras is just taken out on Nuremberg. That's a problem. We're 2 ships down in this match. We're at 300 points and they're almost at 500 points. This is a bit of a problem. And like I said, right at the beginning of the match, I thought this was going to be a quick match. But alright. Made really good coffee this morning for this voiceover. So the fire is finally out in the Bayern. And we see our Legionnaire coming in on the other side. And Bayern has just beached himself. Our Bayern is taking care of the enemy Vasteras, as I've set another fire to their Bayern. So we're at least now only one ship down. The poor Bayern gets himself off the rocks, but it looks like the Legionnaire is going for a suicide torpedo run. Our Ismail gets a secondary hit or kill on their New Mexico. Secondary Ismail kill? What is this? And there goes the torpedoes. Donk donk. Legionnaire takes care of the Bayern. But he is on super low health. Our Ismail kills the enemy Knevi. This Fuso kills the Legionnaire as I take a knock from the CV and from the New Mexico. Right, New Mexico. While you are sailing away, let's spice up your life a little bit. Now, one of the really nice things about the pan-European destroyers being is that they get a heal even at these low tiers. Ouch. So, Dementia in the Knevi, he has popped smoke and started capping the enemy's cap. Now, even if you're unsuccessful at capping, you're denying them from gaining points. This is super important if you get into a situation where the time runs out in the match and it's a points match. Instead of killing everything, there is still ships remaining and you just didn't score enough points. So he's popped smoke. I had 2 choices: either go and sit in the smoke as the CB bombs me again or rockets me again, and at this point in time, my divmate on Discord, Louise, was saying, listen, we really need to get fighters over you. And I said to him, you guys use it in the cap points. I'm going to run around and distract this Fuso. Now, pound for pound, I think the Fuso is arguably one of the best battleships at tier 6. If I had to choose between New Mexico, Bayern, or Fuso, I would take the Fuso. For me, she's just a really good boat. Now I see Louise has parked in the cap as well with his Dunkirk, and the Dunkirk obviously has the double front turrets, making it able so that it doesn't need to turn to get all the turrets in play. I get detected by Mr. Fuso, and I need to get him focused on me. I don't want him shooting at the Dunkirk, I want him shooting at me. I was hoping he was going to turn into the cap, but instead he calls my bluff, he turns out, and he's now going to start chasing me. Louise kills the Trento in his Dunkirk, as I almost hit the edge of the map here. Now my torpedoes sail past the Fuso, as I really thought he was actually going to turn down into the cap, turn south, to try and defend it. But while his guns are turned that way, he's sailing straight at me. And with a stroke of luck, one shell hits. Well, I had two shell hits and one set of fire. Oh, Mr. Battleship did the classic Battleship mistake. He put out a single fire. Really? Really? You put out a single fire? We're gonna have to make you pay for that. Ooh, I'm taking a lot of shells. I've already had a potential damage of 666,000. Shells fly at me. Stop shooting at me, people. There's now over 700,000. You know, tier 6. And one torpedo hits as he turns, but that's a flood. And remember what I said about damage controlling a single fire. He is now flooding. And he can't use it because he used his damage control. And that, really, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't damage control a single fire. Because now he's flooding. As a Vasteras takes care of the enemies now. And that flood's gonna go its full length. And he's still chasing me. And now I set a fire on him as well. Not a happy person. No. Had he not put out that fire, he would have been able to put out the fire and the flood, and only had to deal with this single fire now. And, like, you know, you can repair most of the fire damage. But now he's flooding and he's on fire. And eventually his damage control comes on again, and he's able to get everything under control. Dodges my torpedoes. Brian and a Normandy goes for a ram. That was interesting. But this Fuso is still chasing me, while our Dunkirk is stopping the cap points. As you can see, just south of them, as I score one torpedo hit on the Fuso, Dementia sits in his navy, and he is sheltering the south side of the Dunkirk, trying to cap. And I get a fire at least on the Fuso. Well, let's see if he's going to be stupid. No, he has learned from his mistake, or his damage control is on cooldown. One of the two. I couldn't tell. He has now decided chasing a Vasteras in a battleship across the map is possibly not the best idea. So, shoots at me, misses. And at this point I was quite surprised the CVs hasn't taken an interest in me. The Ayoba is now going in towards our Dunkirk, and did that hit? No. Fuso turns out and runs away. He's decided he's had enough of chasing a silly little destroyer. And then we lose a New Mexico to the CV, and we are still ahead on points. But you never know with the teams lately. Well, that poor Fuso gets bombed. Ayoba takes care of our Dunkirk. And I remember on Discord Louis saying to me, damn it, he almost had that Ayoba. But it's alright, we'll take care of him soon. I touch with one non-penetration, and I set the Fuso on fire again. I think this guy was so annoyed and so pissed at me. And I feel for it, because I've been in battleships when I get hounded by destroyers all the time. But that's why I don't rage at it anymore, because now the shoe's on the other foot. Now this Ayoba is a big problem to me. Much faster fire rate. He also has torpedoes, and he is, as a ship, physically much faster. But while he's focused on shooting at me, our CV chunks him quite nicely, and he's only got 4,000 HP left. And being only a tier 6 match, battleships and myself get a heal. Ayoba does not get a heal. The Fuso burns down. I get an arsonist. Thank you. I'm at 84,000 damage. 4 torpedo hits, 5 fires, 2 floods. One incapacitation in a tier 6 destroyer. Look, Ma, I can play a destroyer. I'm still worried about this Ioba. He's only got 3,428 health, but that's 3,427 more than he needs.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
And I think he might actually turn in, but I send a bunch of torps out the other side anyway. As I said, I'm a terrible destroyer player. Right, let's shoot at him and bait him. No. He turns out, I thought he would turn in and come and chase me a bit, or come towards our New Mexico in the 7 line, which is now also pushing in. Now, the CVs have left me alone for a while because I think the New Mexico just makes a far, far easier target. And, alright, let's stop the cap points again. There's only 1,000 and something on that Ioba. Only 240 hits. I switched to AP, see if I can do anything with AP. Oh, New Mexico dies. I'm shooting at the Ioba, but as he turns, the Vasteras from Charizard fan from Fleet Force kills him. So we're now 2 CVs and me and a destroyer versus 2 CVs and a battleship. So we're equal on ships, but we are ahead on points. And this is what I was saying. Why sometimes denying the enemy cap points is super important. So I start shooting at the closest CV, because New Mexico is actually far, and the CVs decide, because Vasteras has now been enough of a pain in our ass for a while. Ooh, 3 citadels with AP. We'll take that. On the Ranger, don't think those torpedoes have the legs, because he is now moving as fast as his little CV legs will take him. But I'm now being pounded by the CVs. As much as I wiggle and move, there's not much I can do. They are now going to shoot at me. As you can see, I've turned my AA on. They know where I am, so they know exactly where I am, what I'm doing. We're in the final 2.5 minutes of the match. My torpedoes run out on the Ranger, and I realize it's going to go behind the island, so I can't torpedo him. And in come more fighters. And Dementia is saying, guys, please drop fighters over the man. He is fighting. But again, trying to deny him cap points. I throw some torpedoes at the New Mexico. Missed me, CV. Unfortunately, there's more coming in. Ooh, New Mexico chunks me, and the low and hard finishes me off. So we're at 444 points versus 368, 370. But I still got torpedoes in the water going towards the New Mexico. Now, let's see. He turns, probably expected it, but thankfully the torpedoes are fairly fast, and donk, there's one that hits with a flood. And there's a bug in the replay. He stopped the flood. I'm at 101,114 points in a tier 6 destroyer. So this is a bug in the replay. I picked up this morning when I was playing it through to capture it with OBS. I'm actually following a squadron of planes here, but it didn't show up. And there's 45 seconds left in the game. And this is why it was super important for us to deny them the cap. We're ahead of points. And you can't see the planes on the Ranger's deck. There they go. And as I select them, this is what happens. So, yeah, Wargaming, please do a better replay system. And as the time starts running out, we've got 13 seconds remaining in this game. It's fairly obvious that we might be able to win this. And in the dying seconds, Charizard detonates the New Mexico, securing us the win. Ladies and gentlemen, how's that for a Vasteras game? Not many torpedo hits, but fires, floods, incapacitations, citadels, 10,900 XP, 2,225 free XP, and arsonist. Hey Ma, look, I might become a DD player.